The Fujifilm XF 33mm F1.4 was announced a few weeks ago, and we've been shooting with this for a little bit longer than that. And by far, the most common question I'm still getting is how it compares to the oh-so-special XF 35mm F1.4. If you watch my review of the latter, you know I pine on about the magic sauce that this brings to the table. But, and there's a big but, but does this 33mm F1.4 have the same special sauce? No. Yeah, I know it's weird for a YouTube video nowadays to just answer the most important question in the first 30 seconds, but your time is precious, and I want to bring more context to how these lenses stack up. Let's get this video started.
But God might be on vacation, and the promised land ain't never promised. My baby telling me to be patient, but the devil always working overnight, my darling.
I don't really enjoy listing out specs because if it's something you can Google, what's the point? But I know that a lot of you, a good amount of you, care about that sort of stuff, and this channel is for you, the people.
The people.
Let's quickly go over how these lenses stack up against each other before we get into the nuance. Though sharing the same aperture, the 35mm has an equivalent focal length of 53 in the full frame perspective, where the 33, the new one, sticks to a truer 50mm perspective. The 33, it has 9-bladed aperture control, nearly double the optical elements, 2 aspherical and 3 extra low dispersion elements. Compare that with the 35, which has 7 blades, 8 optical elements, and 1 lonely aspherical element. As the name suggests, you also have weather sealing and a new linear focusing motor on the new 33mm lens. And this all comes together for a package that's noticeably bigger than the 35mm, but let's be honest, it's not as significant as you might think looking at the pictures. The 33mm is not even an inch taller, and though 50% heavier, we're talking about a measly 360 grams that feels still effortless compared to full frame counterparts. The XF35 has a filter size of 52mm compared to the 58 on the 33, and well, that's the major things that set these two lenses apart. Now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's jump into the fun stuff. Why would you choose the 33mm 1.4? The simple answer is that you want the best 50mm option on the X mount. This lens blew me away, and it spells out the future of primes for Fujifilm. When I'm using this, I don't feel like the focus will miss. The linear motor locks into subjects like I owed it money. It's relentless.
So, it's been 24 hours. Got my money? Oh, you know what? Just give me till next Friday. I'll have it for you. Oh, well, all right then. That's good, OJ.
On the X Pro 3 and XT4, this lens makes for a balanced shooting experience and performs in a manner that you'd expect a premium lens to perform. Even in challenging candlelit environments, I was able to lock into faces reliably. When it came to using the manual focusing ring, I appreciated the slightly increased resistance that made pulling focus wide open easier. And I might put way more focus on these details than others, but if you've watched my studio photography workshop, you'll learn how and why I use manual focusing in the field. Having a great user experience, it really makes a difference when critical work is on the line. The aperture ring also has more resistance to it, and more importantly, there's an aperture lock. This means that you can lock this lens to automatically set aperture or be controlled by one of your command dials on your camera. And using the button, you can disengage this to go back and control aperture manually to your liking. This is great because you simply won't overshoot the aperture and get thrown into an automatic mode when you're not noticing. Now, let's talk about the images. They're gorgeous, okay? They're gorgeous. Even when you're wide open, you have remarkable sharpness and realistic contrast. This holds up even when you go to the corners of your image, which makes sense since Fujifilm confirmed that these new lenses are being designed for higher resolution sensors. The color and tonality from this lens is realistic and predictable, and for a working professional, that is critical. Now, this all sounds fantastic and almost like a no-brainer for people, but there's a reason I'm making this video and we're having this conversation, and that's because of, well, this mother right here. Really quickly, before we move on, I gotta give another shout out to the workshop on studio photography that I got to publish in partnership with Moment. In this class, trust me, you are gonna be blown away at the amount of knowledge I am spitting at you. I am telling you, there is nearly 2 hours of content, and it is me talking right through, providing insights on taking beautiful images, lighting recipes, my Fujifilm recipes, how to tether to your camera, how I edit my images, how to pose your models, and more. There's just so much here. There's also a PDF included with even more gems on how you can plan an entire photo shoot experience. So if that kind of stuff is up your alley and ultimately you really want to get better at your craft, I think you won't be disappointed. The link is down below. So yeah, shameless plug. I'm really proud of this. I spent a lot of time putting it together and I believe you won't be disappointed. So once again, the link is below, my studio photography workshop. Let's get on with this video. The XF 35mm F1.4 has earned this reputation that makes it nearly a must-have lens for all Fujifilm users, and that's saying a lot given how many great pieces of glass are available for this system. But why? This lens has no weather sealing, an antiquated focusing system, and makes a noticeable scraping noise that can be annoying in some settings. The loose focus ring may not bother some, but the aperture ring can easily be knocked out of place. However, this lens continues to be sought after by Fuji shooters in spite of these drawbacks, and it simply comes back to the image quality. This lens has a unique look and rendition that you appreciate even more so when you're holding it side by side against its counterparts. You have good separation of your subject from your background with a refined contrast and sharpness. It's kind of like having a very weak diffusion filter on your lens, but less impacting the areas that you want in focus. The result, it's a unique quality across the image that pushes its way to being more film-like in quality. What takes us even further is how, because of the lack of corrective lenses, the out-of-focus areas appear. There's a quirky nature to the bokeh that's reminiscent of vintage lenses that may be something you want in your photography. Where the 33 looks to be clinical, the 35 is more of a free spirit. You have to work this lens and level up your technique to get the most out of it. Unlike the new 33, there isn't much advanced technology here to save you in dynamic environments. However, if you leverage your skills and the camera you have the right way, you'll have no problem landing focus shots that stand out time and time again. So with all of this in mind, I'm sure some of you are wondering, what would I take with me? What would I recommend for others? Oh, welcome back. Okay, so what it really comes back to is what you shoot and what you want your end result to look like. The XF 33mm F1.4 will excel in just about any environment. Its construction and optics make it a powerful tool for photo and video, which is not something you see often enough. You compound this with the phenomenal sharpness and well, you have damn near a bulletproof lens. But here's why I'm keeping my 35mm F1.4. Whether it's a camera or a lens, the end result is what matters most to me. Will this make me shoot more often? Will this bring me closer to my creative vision? Will this inspire me to continue this journey? The 35 ticks more of those boxes for me right now. I look at these two lenses, and the newer one, it reminds me of Sugar Ray Leonard, this precise savant that dances through adversity and will land shot after shot. The 35, to me, that's Roberto Duran, this bombastic, spontaneous, larger-than-life character that keeps trudging forward with hands of stone, and when it connects, lights out. I don't have a pressing need to move to the 33 because the 35, which is now almost exclusively used for photography for me, brings me closer to my creative vision. It's almost like the advancements that aren't available on this lens are what make it so special. If you find yourself more of a photographer and even more of a romantic, the 35 f1.4 might be the lens to get. However, if your budget allows for it, there's no denying how sound the 33mm is. For the working professional in varying conditions, the aspiring filmmaker, and well, anything in between, the 33mm is the mature decision. So I guess that means I'm just not ready to be mature at all. And there you have it, folks. That is the comparison between these two phenomenal lenses. I am still working on the review of the 33mm f1.4, so stay tuned for that. I don't want that video to be like 20-30 minutes long, so I want to separate this topic specifically and bring this to you guys a little bit sooner, because I know a lot of you are asking. But I'd love to hear what you think, so let me know in the comments below. Are you team 33, 35, or is there something else entirely? Let's continue the conversation there. And if you aren't already, like 75% of you watching, please do hit that subscribe button, because it does make a difference and helps us reach new people and do some crazy things. Crazy things you'll see in future videos. As always, my name's Gadgen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.